So I think one of the biggest questions, or the biggest question I always get asked is, Gels, out of all the cars you could have gone with, why did you go with an early 2000s Mazda, more specifically a Mazda RX-8? Like, out of all the platforms that you could have went after to do that amount of stuff to, why did you choose one of the most notably unreliable cars of like the decade? And to be completely honest, I never have like a solid response for that question. I'm like, no, you're right. Like, why would I choose that? Like, when you look in my previous history of owning cars, like I had the Mitsubishi Eclipse, I have the FRS, and now I have a rotary engine RX-8. Like, it just really doesn't add up, other than the fact that they're just like sub 200 horsepower from like, or sub 200 horsepower cars. Like, that's really about the only similarities that they have. But the more I think about it, like, it really does make sense. If I look back, like in elementary school, playing Need for Speed Underground 2, like most of us did, like, I don't know, that was the car that I really liked. For some reason, I really gravitated towards the RX-8. Like, when asked in our elementary school, like, worksheets, like, where do you picture yourself in 10 years? What's your dream job? What's your dream car? I wrote a Mazda RX-8. And it's just one of those things that, like, I remembered. I'm like, you know, one day I will own one of those cars, and that time has come. So last year around October, I started really searching around for a new project car. I got rid of the Mitsubishi Eclipse. I had the FRS. It was about where I wanted it to be. It's a really fun, dailyable car that I can run all summer and spring and stuff like that I never have to worry about. I'm like, I need a project car in my life again. I need that sense of unreliability for some reason. I don't know why we like to torture ourselves like that, but we do. So I really started shopping around for a Mazda RX-8 and found one not too far away. It was a couple hours drive down in Illinois. Kind of did some research around like what I should look for as far as like common issues, things like that, things to check around for. And I found a pretty decent one for a decent price, and literally got everything in order and went down that weekend and picked it up. The whole intention was to build something, to like work on something for a long period of time, right? Like, we'll get a winter project car, get a project car to work on for quite a while. That didn't happen. We actually ended up building the thing in a matter of like 2 to 3 months because Fitment Industries were like, hey, we should like cover the build process of this, but that means we need to get like everything filmed, everything ordered, everything on the car as soon as possible. So that is what ended up happening, and the first rendition of the car is what you'll see covered on the Fitment Industries YouTube channel. You can go check that out. But yeah, pretty much so far what we've done to the car is what I wanted to call like my first of doing something to these cars. So I've never owned a bagged car. I've never installed air suspension on a car of my own. I've never owned a wide body car. I've never wrapped anything before. I've never like really owned anything with like a big wing on it per se. And especially I've never owned a rotary engine. You know, we all know rotary engines for their unique sounds. They're just cool motors, like in a sense, like they're just unique, and they have a lot of uniqueness to them. Especially the Renesis for a couple of other maybe not so good reasons. But I'll be honest, like my experience with it so far has been really, really nice. So what we started out doing is we installed the air suspension on the car. So it's a D2 air suspension struts paired with the AirLift 3P management, so a pressure-based system. It's sitting on Artisa Artform Elders, so they're 18 by 9.5 plus 22 in the front, 18 by 10.5 plus 22 in the rear, so staggered setup. And then there's a 30 mil spacer in the front and a 50 mil spacer in the rear to match the Rocket Vanya or Lions Kit Overfender Kit, the V1 kit, that actually fits super, super nice. We didn't really have to do any modifications to that kit to get it to fit. It fits super well. Honestly, for the price, like probably the best body kit that you can buy for the car. So we installed that. We could still use some help with the front fitment. Whenever we were ordering everything, we kind of just did the best measurements off of what we had. None of the parts were here yet. We had to get the wheels on the way. So it is what it is. Still working on the front fitment. We actually got a good surprise, hopefully coming for this car in the next few months. Some new wheels in the works for it, so you can keep an eye out for that. But yeah, so like I said, we installed the Lions kit, Rocket Vanya V1 kit for it. Install went super well. First time really wide bodying something or installing overfenders on something. Had Rainey help out with that install, so he was able to cut the fenders, weld up the rears, seal everything to make sure that it was going to be good to go. And then we brought it home to start wrapping it. So it's wrapped in Avery Dennison, the gloss light blue, I think it's called, or sky blue bought the material, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna give it a whirl. We're gonna try wrapping this thing and see how it goes. Like I said, I've never really wrapped anything before. I have done a bunch of RC models in the past, which covering those is a very kind of similar process. So I was like, shouldn't be too bad. It took about a week of working from about like 2 p.m. to about midnight, having some guys come and help, people who have wrapped cars before coming out, specifically with the bumpers. Those were the major pain issues. Everything else actually went pretty smooth for the most part. It was just a very time-consuming process because I've never done anything like that before, so I was being very meticulous on things. Probably could have done things a little different to make the process go quicker, but we got her done. As far as other modifications, we brought Corbeau on board. Corbeau hooked it up with the seats for this thing. I absolutely love them. I think they fit the car absolutely perfect. They're just a black vinyl with a carbon vinyl backing to it. It matches the interior perfectly. It's all black interior, and it just adds a nice custom touch to the interior, and it feels absolutely amazing. Other than that, we got the big Country Labs 1850 Atmosphere Demolisher wing on the back of this thing. As you can probably tell, it sits higher than anything else on the car. I absolutely love it. I said I wanted to go with the big wing, so I went and bought the absolute biggest wing that I could find. So that's super neat. It's actually got prototype brackets on it from Big Country Labs, something that they were working on for the Mazda RX-8 GT kit wing. So this is actually the first car to run those brackets. Worked pretty well. Provided some feedback for them to make sure that they can get those going, which was a super cool process to be a part of. Like it's really not overwhelming, but it's like surreal to be a part of a process like that. Like coming from just doing exhaust and intake installs on my little 4-cylinder cars and in my driveway back home in small town Wisconsin, to now being a part of something like that and doing builds for Fitment Industries, and being a part of Artisa wheels, designing wheels and seeing them on cars and seeing them on your guys' cars is just an absolutely awesome feeling, and I never thought I would be in that position. Future plans for it, I want to get some more aero stuff done to it, so some more carbon stuff preferably, so like a front lip splitter, side skirts diffuser, really kind of just to balance the rest of the car out. I think it looks pretty good personally, but I know that it does need to be balanced out. That wing is absolutely massive in the rear, needs some other stuff to make it work, but I think it looks pretty good. But no rush on getting that stuff. Like I said, I want to do it right, make sure we get some good stuff on the way. I feel like some stuff for the custom, like the front splitter might have to be custom built, which it is what it is. That's why I bought the car, tinker with it, work on it, and then possibly move on to some more power stuff down the road. So when asked why I bought a Mazda RX-8, I think what it all comes down to is the experience. I wanted the experience of the RX-8, of a rotary engine, the experience of going through and doing things that I've never done before to a vehicle, and it's fulfilled every expectation that I could have had for it. So if you're looking at getting an RX-8 or have ever thought about it, do it. I would do it now before they start to go up in price, because I can absolutely see that becoming a thing. Actually, it's probably already happening. But yeah, that's why I own a Mazda RX-8.
Let your body take control.